we are here to launch a very special boat set to sail into an operating environment that is transformed and transforming under the bottom-up economic transformation agenda. It is appropriate that the boat we launch on this occasion represents the intersection of fundamental components of our transformative agenda. First of all, the Central Securities Depository, CSD as it's called, has been automated and digitized to enhance its security and to enable it to serve investors faster and much more efficiently. Additionally, the CSD Investor Portal and the M-Akiba digital application have freed up access to the opportunity to invest and trade in government securities, enabling people of all walks of life to participate in the securities market, thereby facilitating a bottom-up growth of the sector. The use of technology to enhance security, efficiency, transparency, and inclusion is a constant theme in the implementation of our programs, as you may well have seen, from making sure that we digitize all government services. We use the digital space to distribute fertilizer, the digital space to reach out to the vulnerable, the digital space to provide financial inclusion. And we are progressing now the digital space to giving the young people of Kenya digital jobs. And that's the space we are working around. And therefore, what the central bank has done in digitizing this space and using technology to make it much more efficient is very much in line with our program. The new system delivers convenience, efficiency, and speed without compromising security and has enhanced security and transparency overall. With this new innovation, investors no longer need to physically visit central bank's head or branch offices to undergo the manual process of opening CSD accounts, which previously took 14 days and involved laborious manual transactions. The makers, operators, and users of the DAO from antiquity to our generation are united by one philosophy: the recognition that money is impatient and opportunities in the financial markets wait for no one. By retiring manual processes and providing digital platforms, the DAO allows investors to transact electronically at any time from anywhere in a matter of a few minutes. I think we've been told here how long it takes. The CSD Investors Portal and mobile application have also delivered inclusion by opening up access to the securities market to everyone, regardless of their status, including many of whom the requirement of physical travel and manual transactions presented significant barriers. Just like the Hustler Fund, automation of services through digital platforms is firmly aligned with our commitment to expand opportunities for Kenyans in their millions. The transformation is already underway, and the central bank is now opening, I am told, 250 new CSD accounts daily. Before, it used to open 100 accounts monthly. In the first month of its operation, I'm told it is 3 weeks and a bit, 6,366 new accounts have been opened. A strong response from Kenyans has made a robust system, and the stage is set for record-breaking activities. This initiative alleviates financial burdens and aligns with our commitment to a fair and inclusive economy. Taxpayers with principal tax debts incurred before 1st January 2023 can therefore take advantage of this opportunity. The amnesty program assists taxpayers facing financial challenges related to unpaid taxes, thus fostering economic growth and inclusivity by all Kenyan citizens. On banking, a myriad of threats, singly or in combination, pose fast mutating dangers and constantly test the integrity and resilience of our financial system. I am delighted that on both scores, the central bank is perfectly up to the task and has been able to ensure the soundness of our financial system and stewarded the emergence of a diverse, sophisticated, and competitive banking and financial service sector. I want to commend the central bank specifically for bringing back the interbank forex market that had become a challenge. The responsibility of nation building is first and foremost the collective responsibility of all of us as Kenyans. Each and every one of us, we need to ask ourselves the job of building Kenya. What is my contribution? Whatever it is, however small, however big, how am I making a contribution towards the nation that I belong to as a citizen of Kenya? And as we take the realization that it is our responsibility, first and foremost, and it is us who are going to build the country. And because it is us who are going to build the country, it is our effort, our energy, our sweat, our assets, our wealth that is going to build this country. And it is the reason why I have undertaken that this great effort by every Kenyan, their energy, their expertise, their resources, their contribution in whatever manner must be protected from the people who want to abuse it. And I intend to keep that commitment to the people of Kenya, to make sure that their resources are looked after and they are not lost through wastage or theft or corruption or any manner of loss of public resources. There is a case that I want to make for the people who do not necessarily want to work on 50,000. And I'm making a case for what we wanted to do with Emma Kiba before. The Emma Kiba did not go very far because it had many challenges. I am persuaded that it is possible for us to reduce the denomination. And I want the team to work on what is this denomination that can democratize that space so that the person you told us here, there is a person in Moyale. There was a reference to Moyale by somebody here. I suspect that that person in Moyale may not necessarily have the 50,000, but they could be having 5,000. And because there is no requirement now for them to travel to Nairobi and they can transact on their phone, there is absolutely no reason why we cannot facilitate that person in Moyale or indeed in any part of Kenya to have a transaction of 5,000. So again, we need a bit of democratizing that space and reducing the denomination of the available instruments, not necessarily in the region of 50,000 or 100,000, but I think the team should be able, Governor Thuge, to democratize that space. And I have seen how we lock out many people sometimes by working with big numbers. And let me give you an example. Just in the city of Nairobi, we have 2.1 million people who have borrowed from the Hustler Fund, 2.1 million people. And in Nairobi alone, we have lent something like 5.7 billion to very small people, in Nairobi alone. Nationally, we've lent about 35 billion in a record 8-9 months, right? So if anybody underestimated the people in the small economy, as you may want to call it, you have to think again. And we have about 7 million people regular borrowing and paying in that space. We need to open up space for those people who are borrowing to also buy government paper. It is essential to highlight the government's improved tax collection efforts. The Finance Act 2023 introduces a taxpayer amnesty program for penalties and interests accrued as of December 31st, 2022. From September 1, 2023, just this month, to June 30th next year, you will have the opportunity to settle only the principal tax amount of outstanding tax debts incurred before January 1, 2023, as we are waiving penalties and interests over the 9-month period. It is very important for me to make this statement for the public. I know we have had a robust two-way conversation on what do we do with taxes that have penalties, that have accrued interest. We are now making an offer to our taxpayers who are trapped or struggling with interest, with accrued penalties, that you now have an opportunity to just pay the principal. And I expect that the tax-paying public will take advantage, especially those who are trapped in the space I am talking about. One of the fundamental commitments we made to the people of Kenya is to enlist every Kenyan in the task of nation building by opening up opportunities for citizens in their millions across the country to pursue engagements that enrich their lives and bring them closer to their aspirations by two primary means. The first one is to remove all the structural barriers to the contribution of the majority of our people and eliminate systemic obstacles to their participation at any level in all sectors. This is out of the realization that Kenyans are not only capable of meeting their needs and creating wealth through hard work, but they also aspire to contribute to the baking of a national cake large enough to feed all of us, instead of just waiting for morsels distributed through sometimes adversarial, competitive, and untimely, and sometimes acrimonious political mechanisms, as we all know. The second is to facilitate millions of Kenyans to participate and make their contribution through innovative and transformative policies, programs, and projects that facilitate access to opportunity and to the means of turning these opportunities into incomes as a path to improve well-being and create wealth through savings and investments. There is a requirement for one to have a bank account in Kenya. And on this, I am speaking to many Kenyans who do not have a bank account. I'm also speaking to many Kenyans in the diaspora, speaking for many Kenyans who are in the diaspora who may not necessarily have a Kenyan bank account. My advice and feedback to the team is that you need to make it possible for Kenyans who do not have a bank account but have an M-Pesa account to also participate in this space. I also want to ask the team to look at the possibility of Kenyans in the diaspora who may not necessarily have a Kenyan bank account to use their Visa or MasterCard or credit card accounts to be able to also participate in the purchase of government securities. This will expand the scope of participants. It will democratize this space even further and make it possible for a bigger majority of Kenyans and investors from both local and in the international space to participate in this endeavor. The concern, of course, is usually KYC. But I think, speaking from where I am and with the experience of the Financial Inclusion Fund, commonly known as the Hustler Fund, I think the KYC provided by telcos is solid enough for it to be relied upon as a mechanism of knowing who these people are. I also believe very strongly that credit card agencies have sufficient KYC information for us to be able to rely on them to facilitate this process.